What up, fam? Welcome back to the business of DJing. It's your boy Jamie Selects. Thanks again for tuning in. Today, I have a great episode with my boy DJ Fishfonics. He has been the only reason that I have gigs booked down here in San Diego, so shout out to him. But in this episode, we cover his rise to being basically the gig plug down here in San Diego, and also how you can learn how to be professional with other DJs and also with venue owners. So that way, if you want to learn how to be someone who books, then this is going to be a great episode for you to check out. So excited to show it for you. Cool. We're live. What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Business is of DJing. It's your boy Jamie Selects, and today I have the pleasure of hosting my boy Eric, aka DJ Fishfonics. Welcome to the Business of DJing, man. How you doing tonight?
What up, man? I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Cool, man. Well, let's jump right in. As we do normally on the podcast, just want to get a sense of how DJing entered into your life. So I thought if you could just start off by letting us know how you first started DJing, like what time, what was the context, and yeah, we'll just go from there.
Yeah, I basically just filled a party bus and they booked me. No, just kidding. I just saw the weird talk that used to be about party buses. No, I just started actually just doing it for fun. Got the turntables, had friends that did it. Always thought it would be fun. I liked watching a lot of DJs, listening to all sorts of genres of music, and so just kind of started doing it for fun at the house. Picked up a set of turntables, just started practicing and stuff. And it actually, there was a little bar up the street from my house. Just long story short, I went there one night and a dude I know was DJing, and I was just kind of watching, and I'm like, this actually looks kind of fun to play somewhere other than uh you know the house, or doing like house parties. I was getting like booked for random house parties, and it turned out my neighbor did the bookings at that bar. And so she finally, when there was an opening, she's like, do you want to do it? And I did it. It was cool. They were happy, and they just kind of like started booking me. And then another local spot was like, hey, we saw you're doing that, do you want to do a night with us? And then it just kind of grew. And I kind of started to realize, getting out there, trying to network and doing stuff, and just started kind of doing the little spots. And then actually, where I lived at the time, there was a few areas that let us throw our own parties, so we kind of started promoting our own little party, and then started having some other DJs come in. And then eventually I got booked to kind of start moving more towards like bigger and better things, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
Nice. Are you from San Diego originally?
Originally, I'm from LA.
Okay.
Moved to Northern California for a little bit, and then moved to San Diego. But I've been down here so long, like I basically say I'm from here now.
Right.
So, but
Yeah.
originally, like I didn't go to school. I moved here after high school, so I've been here a little while. And kind of, my brother went to high school here, so I was hanging out a lot. Like it's almost like I went to high school here, but I didn't, because I was down
Right.
here so much. But yeah, NorCal, Redding is where I
Oh,
lived after
Reading.
LA.
Okay, I'm from Santa Rosa, so it's a
The
little bit more deep than Santa Rosa for sure. But I've driven through there to see some family.
Yeah, most people just pass through on the five. That's about it.
Cool. And so, like, after you had those first couple gigs, is that kind of when you transitioned to doing it full time, or how did that transition take place
No,
for you?
it actually, I was going to college. I was working at a restaurant down in Del Mar, like kind of a nice one on the beach. And one of the managers there was actually a partner at another spot. So she was one of the ones that's like, hey, I saw you're doing those nights. Do you want to come do a night at our place? And then from there, you start getting a little taste, like, oh, this is fun. And obviously in San Diego, you have so many areas where there's parties and places to DJ. I kind of started reaching out, networking a little bit, and it wasn't for probably it was a while. It was probably like 4 or 5 years before, 3, 4, or 5 years, I guess, where all of a sudden the gigs were starting to overshadow the other work. So like
Mm-hmm.
the restaurant I was in was kind of like, I was starting to work there less and less. And then finally I got offered, I think it was like a Tuesday night. And it was just like, all right, I can't work the other job anymore. And
Right.
kind of just dove in. It was scary. I mean, like my buddy Shoney, shout out to him. He was always the one like, dude, you just got to do it, man. Just dive in, quit the job, just go for it. And eventually I did, and so far so good.
Nice. How long ago was that?
That was probably, where are we at? 2000, probably like 13 years ago.
Oh,
So
damn.
so it's been a minute.
Is that the dude? A lot of tats. DJs that
Yeah.
like. Okay, I met him a couple times. I think at one at Bootlegger and one at
No, he's
Mavericks.
super cool. He's kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
just now transitioned more into he's just doing the like Twitch and stuff.
Mm.
He's done a few podcasts. He got tinnitus and had to back out of DJing because of
Oh
his
no.
hearing. Yeah.
Shit.
So he's just doing the killing it on Twitch and the meme king.
Did you ever get into the Twitch game?
I did it over the pandemic. It was cool, did the whole setup, green screen, got all the gear, had a PC built for me, did it, and it was fun. And especially when you weren't getting to see everyone, like having
Right.
homies come over and which wasn't what you were really supposed to be doing at that time, but having friends come over,
Yeah.
we'd like my girl and I, we'd like have like a homie and his girl come over and like we'd stream, they'd hang out, and then we'd like barbecue or something. But as soon as gigs started coming back, I got busy and just it kind of
Too
fell
much.
off. And I sold all my streaming gear to DJ who now he's got a dope show and it's worth
Nice.
checking out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the same with us. We were doing it for a while, and we never really got like a huge audience with Plural because we were trying to do it with our like company account. And
I watched them. No, I watched a bunch of
yeah,
them.
but then once the gigs came back, it was like the Twitch isn't really paying us anything, so
Exactly. It was
we
fun. The
gotta go back.
only thing I'm bummed is how it saves your videos. So I was like, hey, there's content. Like I have a bunch of recorded me streaming and stuff and all with all the homies. I was doing some stuff on my Twitch page and accidentally deleted everything. So I don't even
Oh
have
no,
like if you go to my page now, there's no videos on there
nothing there.
anymore. I mean,
Dan, the
yeah.
worst is also when they like cut out the audio because you played a song that is a
Oh
copyright.
yeah. But at least the video is still there and people could actually see you and stuff and it kicks back in. So I like that it showed that I had it. But now it's just I've thought about using like one of the homies little studios and making a couple of videos just to have, but I don't know.
Yeah,
There's a million things that are on a list to do. So
I feel you. Cool. So circling back to when you were getting booked, how did you transition from, just getting booked to play gigs here and there to basically being the plug, the gig plug down here in San Diego? What did that process look like and how
it
long did that take?
it basically was it started off at Thrusters, which you've played there,
Mm-hmm.
fun little divey like bar, but just goes
Shout out
off because
Thrusters.
yeah, shout out to Thrusters and Mo back in the day when he was there. I just was they started booking me a lot and he used just a comment that it was like a pain in the ass to do. And I was just kind of like thought to myself, well, I like playing here. You hate doing the calendar. Why don't you let me do your calendar? Because I figure if I'm doing the calendar, that's one less person I have to hit up for gigs. That was solely where that came from. It's just like if
Right.
I do the calendar, you know, it's easy to just plug some homies in, um, do that. And then obviously we worked out compensation for it and stuff. And it just became where I was like, cool, well, that's one. But now when I do my calendar, it was one less place I have to hit up. And they talked to me and were like, hey, we just don't want to see you playing here every night. Like, make sure you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
But then it gets to a point when they like what you do and they know you do a good job. And they're like, plug yourself in as much as you want. But the venue comes first. So, but
Right,
yeah,
right.
it was just out of one less place I got to hit up. And then you just kind of take that and start talking to another place and kind of same situation.
Funny note on Thrusters, I played tennis in this like league out here, and one of the ladies, she was like, "Man, I had my first kiss with my husband at Thrusters like 10 years ago."
Oh, dude, it's funny. I have like a hoodie and I'll wear it. People will stop you like random places. I fucking love that place. It's so
Yeah.
fun. And yeah, I'm sure there's been a lot more than first kisses that have happened there. So it's definitely a party spot for sure.
So how many total places are you booking for right now?
Um, one, two, I would say off like around six, something. Nothing crazy, but it's some of them are groups, or you've seen some of them are just Friday, Saturdays. That's all they do. It's super easy. And then, but same thing. It's nice because it's easy. But I know when there's those big weekends and they stack lineups, they do day stuff. It's cool because then I'm like, cool, I could put myself in on that, could do that. And it's cool to be able to hook up homies, like I'll call you. Hey man, like you good? Like, so
Right.
it's cool. Like, especially dudes, like when Joe, shout out to him, when he first moved here, I was like, him and Beatnik was like, yeah, man, he's down here now. It's like, cool. Let me try to plug you in where I can, and then you come down. He's like, hey, my boy Jamie's down here now. Like, so it's cool to just be able to get to network, meet people, and kind of, those that are doing a good job, like hook them up.
Right. So on that note, actually, like, what are some things that you recommend? Like, let's say you're a young DJ, just moved to a new town, or like you just started DJing in a city and kind of want to break out the bedroom, so to speak. What are some good ways they can like break into, getting their first gig like that and getting in with someone like yourself, to kind of get in the rotation?
I mean, I think with me, and it's like, for instance, I have a friend that does it as well. And he straight up tells guys, like, I only book veteran DJs. Like, I'm not going to mess with him. Me, on the other hand, is, I mean, go to the spot. That's like, I feel like the common denominator and everything. Go to the spot, hang out there, like, get to know like the staff. Like, if the staff is vouching for you, at least that first time, obviously if you come in and blow it, they're not going to vouch for you. But hey, he seems like he's doing right. Have some live mixes. Like, there's guys that, you know, they hit you up and like, well, where do you play? Oh, I don't really play anywhere. Well, first of all, it's like, I don't know if I'm going to be for a spot where that's like a beginner spot, like where maybe a new guy that's trying to get his feet wet. It's like, like, do I want to be the first guy?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes someone will do it and do a great job, but more than not, I think that's like the big thing now, is so many people get into DJing, and this, it's like the first car they buy, now they want to be a NASCAR driver. It's like, you can't just jump right in. Like,
Right.
so it's basically just getting to know the people there, you know, um, networking, like, and so much is like, I've had people, they'll hit you up on Instagram, cool, and you'll look at their page and be like, oh man, this guy's doing something, or oh, okay. And sometimes you just give them a shot and they kill it. But I think a lot of it's just how you come across in that networking. Like, don't walk up in the middle like of a gig and be like, yo man, like, what's up with me playing here? It's like, be respectful and kind of know that no DJ, like, don't walk up to a DJ in the middle when he's playing and start asking him, hey, who books here? How do I get in here?
Right.
You're just going to get. So I think it's just the process. Like, get to know someone, get to know who books. Obviously, becoming best friends with the bar back is only going to get you so far, where it's like, kind of get to know, who's the actual person that's in charge of it, and then, make friends with them, or comment what, just kind of get in their head when it comes to booking guys. Like, it could be an off night, like Thrusters now on Wednesdays, they do a super chill, like, it's literally that night they're booking people that are just starting out. But it's funny in that
Well, there you
aspect
go.
of,
San Diego DJs.
there you go,
New people.
you know hit up
uh
Thrusters, not me.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well,
so
let me
if
like
that makes
recount.
sense.
Yeah, I'll try to recount what Joe and I had like talked about, and then maybe you can tell me if it's like on point. So I know when Joe first got here, he like, I think Beatnik maybe introduced him to you or told him about you, and so he just started pulling up to your gigs. And this is kind of the same stuff that we hear at the Beyond the Music retreat, right? Just show up, and what you
Yeah.
said, show up to the venue. So he just was doing that, and then he got plugged. And then I remember when I first moved down here, I was like kicking it at my brother's house. We were by the pool. And then Joe hits me up. He's like, "Yo, what are you doing right now? Can you do Death by Tequila in like 45 minutes?" I was like, I'm kind of chilling, but like, I gotta do it. So I like drove home. I was like, this is my in right now. This is my first opportunity. I have to take it. So I went home, like got all the gear, then went by Do Death by Tequila that first time. And then I think, yeah, I just tried to come in. Anytime you hit me up and try to come in the clutch for you and be like, all right, he needs someone. I'm gonna try to show up as much as I can. And then also never, I mean, sometimes I've had to get things covered, but I like, once I get a gig, I like only rarely in like, I got COVID situation, try to get it covered, just because you don't want to be like the guy who's like taking a bunch of stuff on and then flaking out.
Yeah, no,
So
for
those are
sure.
the kind of things that I've tried to do, or Joe and I have tried to do, and to kind of earn that trust.
No, and with Joe, it actually is, I was doing a monthly up in the Bay, And one time I was up there to play, and I saw Beatnik post that he was playing at doing like an early set at Pink Elephant.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, no shit. So I went over and met up with him. And then at some point, I think I was just like, because I was going up there, I was like, hey, man, like who does the bookings out? It looks like it'd be like a fun little gig to play. And he put me in touch with Joe. And so
Oh, okay.
Joe put me in, like got me in a spot there one weekend when I was up there for their Sunday brunch, which was super fun.
Lit.
And, dude,
It's
that
not the
was
same anymore,
oh
but
yeah, dude, that was fun.
R.I.P.
Long set, but fun. So yeah, so that's how I got to know Joe. And then the first time I played there, he came down and like hung out, and then just doing that. And I think there was even one time after he moved down here to San Diego, I was going up to play in the Bay, but I was going to drive up there. I think I was making a little weekend trip, and he was talking about, oh, I'm going up there too. So I was like, dude, jump in with me. And I like, he rode with me, and I dropped him off at his parents. I think it's like round Sac or something. Like dropped him off and then
Stockton,
continued.
yeah.
Yeah. And then continued on. So it was just cool getting to rap out with him. Then finally, when he moved here, it was like, yeah, man, like, hook you up with some stuff. You never know. I might need some legal advice from him someday.
Yeah, for real. He's got one more year. Nice. So yeah, we kind of just chatted about this, but maybe we can go a little bit deeper. Like once you have the relationship, what are some things you do? What are some things that you suggest doing with like maintaining that professional relationship with the venue and with the staff? I know like at the end of my gigs, I always try to say bye to everyone, say thank you.
Oh
But
yeah.
from your perspective, like what are some of the top things that you do that really stand out and help out and create the relationship?
I mean, it's definitely things like that because I have meetings and, hey, who do you like? Who do you don't like who's been great? And a lot of times, if, everybody's, say, all the DJs are playing very similar, like they're all crushing it, then they're going to think about, oh, well, we like Jamie. He always walks out. He says bye to everyone. He's easy to work with. So it's definitely some of that. But it's basically just, yeah, the professionalism, like, learn how to make an invoice, learn how to fill out a 1099 or a W9, know like, oh, if I'm playing this Friday, they probably need this invoice. It's like those kinds of things. Um, be, especially if it's like you're just kind of getting there, like be excited about it. Like, if you book a guy that's like, yeah, man, I guess I can do it, whatever, you're like, all right, well, there's 10 other guys that would
Yeah,
love to do it.
right.
It's just a lot of it's just relationships. There's a lot, we all know there's a lot of DJs out there. There's a lot of DJs out there that all do a great job. So beyond that, it's, who do I know is not going to get in there and I'm going to get a call from the manager the next day about how drunk they were or how they went over their tab and then bounced or
Right.
uh you know poured drinks over the gear. It's like, it seems to me nowadays, with if you're of that age and you're DJing in a professional environment, no, don't take a drink over the gear. It's gonna drip. Unless it's just like those little things where, I mean, I've seen it across the board. So it's just the ones that are, it's the professionalism and communication. Like just be cool. Like, and I do it too. Like when I play gigs, especially a new spot, like when I get a text from guys like, yo man, hey, thanks. Like just like, you like to just see, it's all about relationships. Like even they talk about that beyond the music retreat. It's the relationships. And you see like so many people getting booked at places. And there's a lot of DJs out there that'll admit like, yo, I'm not the best, but they like working with me. Like you just want to be easy to work with. And
Right.
um don't be, cause those issues. Like I've had to have those conversations with DJs like, hey man, I can't book you anymore. They said you got wasted, you're, being annoying to staff, things like that. There was one guy I know that got 86 from a spot because apparently he kept hitting the strobe light button so much it made a bartender have to like go in the back and throw up. And they told him, yo, turn the strobe off. And he just was like,
Dude.
no.
No, man.
So yeah, exactly.
They're
It's just
loving it.
those weird little things where it's just like, hey, man, like, hey, I love you, but I'm gonna go with this guy because, and also guys that if your start time is 11, 11:30, 10, whatever, don't be walking in the door when you're supposed to have music playing.
Yeah, for sure.
There's
That's a big
so many guys that just have issues with just being on time. And I mean, get it, everyone's late, but when there's an opening DJ and I'm getting a text 15 minutes in, like, yo, man, like, is there someone after me? It's like, yeah. And then you
Where
text
they
a guy, they're
at?
like, oh man, I'm walking over now. I'm like, dude, you should have been walking over 30 minutes ago.
Right.
So,
Whenever I do a new gig, I'm like an hour early just to like
dude,
peep the
seriously.
scene, make sure my computer turns on. Uh, I did a couple gigs like where like the first time I played Saloon, my it was like right after I did the Death by Tequila, and my computer just wasn't connecting to the mixer. It would give me that thing where it was like audio failed to connect. So it'd come up for a second and then come out.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this actually isn't a great example, but thankfully I had my controller because I just did the Death by Tequila like before they had their
Mm-hmm.
own stuff. So I was able to adapt in that situation. But this other time, I did like I think Gabe booked me at like it's like a restaurant type spot, and they had the new type of
Oh,
controller.
understory.
Yeah, something like that. And they had the new controller, and I was like, I'm just gonna bring a turntable and a mixer just in case. And then my computer didn't connect, so I was like, well, good thing I came an hour early and brought this
No,
because
that mixers, it's like that, or the controller, it's that one, not the big XDJ. It's the one below it that you can do thumb drives.
yeah, you
And
can
when
do
it
both.
first came out, it was not Serato ready. It was like 6 months
Oh,
later that it actually became Serato ready.
okay, that must
So,
have been it then. But yeah, I brought my mixer because I was like, I'm not about to be there with no audio connecting.
oh, dude, when I remember when venues started getting S11s, all of a sudden DJs were like, "Oh, I can't connect," and it's you ask them like, "Well, what Mac are you on?" "Oh, well, it's like a 2012." I'm like, dude, you're just out of date. Like,
Right.
there's that, like at the music retreat. Remember the one of the things they kept talking about was, don't call us with tech support questions if you're like you're so out
It's
of date
right.
software or firmware. So it's definitely just being prepared. Like, if you're using Serato and it's a place that has CDJs, like, have a thumb drive ready to go with record box. So if
Right.
something happens, just switch over to the sticks. And
Yeah, I had to do that at Lumi one time. I was like covering for Joe once, and I brought the computer because I hoped it would work, and then it didn't. But I was like, all right, I guess thumb drive it is, and it was house
yeah,
music, so it was fun anyways. But that worked out. So speaking of gear, how do you? I've noticed like a lot of the spots that you're working, like the gear is always set up nice. There's always USBs there. There's like a charger. How do you facilitate the conversations with the venues of like making sure they have the right stuff, and then also like getting them to upgrade when the time comes, or like getting their own gear, like in Death by Tequila, for example?
usually I mean, it's sometimes you get lucky and they just like will ask, like, for instance, Ale, they have the 3000s now. They hit me up and they're just like, hey, we're going into summer. Is our gear up to date? And they had, turntables in an S9. Well, they did a private event where it was the guys wanted to play on thumb drive. So I think they brought like the XDJ or whatever that controller is.
Yeah.
And so they noticed that. And so the managers didn't know anything about gear. So they were just like, oh, maybe our gear's out of date. So when sent me a picture, I'm like, no, like, that's, explain what a controller is. And I was like, if you're going to do something of that nature, and I was like, this is what you should get, the CDJs, because then it's versatile. You can go both. And, I'm like, aim high,
Yeah, exactly.
And so they were like, cool. And they talked to the owner and they're like, yeah, let's do it. So it's like, let's do it. Other places, I mean, some places it's just, you just know when, like, all right, it's time. Like, there's places like, Thrusters, for instance, they were one of the last kids on the block to get a S9.
Right.
But it just hits that point, like, hey, but as soon as I brought it up to the owner, he's like, yeah, do it. Like, it's been long enough. Let's make sure, So most places are, you know, they're up for it as long as there's rationale behind it, not like,
Right. Right.
is there anything, hey, let's get an S11. Is there anything wrong with the S9? No, not
Not
really.
necessarily.
Well, dude, can DJ still play on it? Yeah, So it goes back and forth, like, you talk about Saloon, like, love that place. They had a 57, and when Thrusters got their S9, I finally was like, hey guys, I got this 900 that has Serato built in. It'll at least be enough upgrade from that 57. So I mean, this is a while ago, obviously,
Right.
but not that long ago in the frame of a 57. And so Gabe, told the owner like, hey man, you got to at least do this. But it's also, as a DJ, some DJs enable the places, like Spot's got a 57 or something outdated. So DJs are just bringing their Serato boxes. And so as an owner, you're like, well, there's no problem. The guys all seem to be playing, and you got to try to explain to them, well, so there's that. I think the thing with like a lot of newer DJs is they're so anxious to play that they'll sell themselves short. Like,
True. Like, I just need to play. I'll play
I
for
just
free.
want to play. Yeah, I'll play for free. I'll pay you. It's just like, I mean, I've had
I'll
that
pay
conference.
you. Yeah.
I've had those emails so many times. Hey, just come in. I'll come play for free. And I'll tell people, shut up. Don't ask for that. If I'm going to book you, you're going to get paid.
Right.
But, because I've had, like, back to the professionalism, I literally had one time a text out of the blue was like, yo, what up with a date? And I was like, huh?
What up with the date?
And then I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, I talked to like somebody random at one of the venues, just gave out my number and was like, yeah, talk to this guy. So I was like, who's this? And instead of telling me anything, who was like, yo, I'm, freaking DJ whoever, this is a little bit about me. He just sent me a really shitty quality GIF of him like fist pumping behind a DJ booth. That was it. And I think I just,
Sick.
I was like, okay,
Block.
yeah, thanks, but no thanks.
That's
So
hilarious.
yeah, it just professionalism just across the board.
So with the whole inflation situations going on, I've noticed like some of the rates have been raising, but I know, how's your experience been with like negotiating rates, and how has that changed over time in your experience? Like what are some of the things that people can do to like increase their rate if they've been there at a venue for a while?
I mean, it varies because some venues are just like, this is the rate, like this is the best we can do. If you're gonna, like, we want you to play, but this is all we're gonna pay. So you just gotta ask. I think it's asking yourself, like, will I play for this?
Right.
Like, what's my opportunity cost? If I take this gig, am I losing out on this? Or if I have, if you're someone new and you have a day job or say an evening job, okay, well, if I got to give up a shift, like, so I think sometimes it's just the rate to the rate. I think some venues, when they really like you, you could kind of tell, like, they just really like you there, or they comment, God, our numbers are so great when you're here, blah blah. I think there's always a time for a conversation. And the way I always look at it is, worst they're gonna say is no. I mean,
Right.
unless you just kick the door in and be like, "Yo, I need some more fucking money." Like, they're not gonna not book you anymore. They'll take it under consideration. I think there's an issue with, there's this underlying thing where where if DJs came together and talked a little bit more about it, but everyone's so like overly secret. Like, I get like your business is your business, but
Right.
there's also an element where we're all kind of, working we're on the same grind. So it's like, it's always a touchy conversation. I think it's just whoever's cutting the check at the end of the day, if they like you and they want you to stay there, they're going to work with you. They may,
Right.
in some places, I think some venues don't have that mentality where there needs to be one rate. Like, have a budget. Sometimes if it's a slow night, allocate a little less to a guy that's, maybe has a crew that's going to come out, but he'll work for a little less because he didn't play a lot. If it's a big weekend and you want to shine and pack it's going to be packed and you want someone in there, a little more star power, spend some more. It's there's so many variables, but I think it's just, I feel like, when you deserve it. And at that point also, sometimes be prepared to walk away. If a place is like, sorry, man, like, you know, we're not going to pay you anymore, then just
Yeah.
bounce. And maybe they'll see after you go, like, hey, damn, dude, we miss it. Like, all right, let's talk. So
Do you think they track like like, okay, this DJ was playing, we made this much money, and then like track over time, like which DJ is bringing the most sales? I don't
A
know if that
lot of
actually makes it.
a lot of places do.
Really? Okay, that's interesting.
They'll and sometimes it's not even every DJ, but they'll know particular DJs.
Right.
And like I've had guys tell me, they're like, yeah, man, they tell me every time I play, sales are consistently X amount more. And the one DJ in particular, like he then leveraged that. He's like, well, hey, because they were actually like, well, can we get you here more? And he's like, if you want me here more, you can pay me more. And
Right.
they did. And they actually wanted to give him more dates than he wanted. But what they were giving him and paying him, he was completely happy. So it definitely, works out. But if you're not doing anything outside of what every other DJ is doing, and they're not seeing it, like, why should we pay you more? Like, are you doing anything more? So I think it's part of talent versus relationship, and just how bad do they want you. And what happens is some places realize you cut corners, you get some guys in there that can't hold a room, then they see their sales list. That's how I've had places notice, when they start telling me like, hey, how come we're not seeing the normal guys? And I'm like, well, they're moving on to higher paying gigs. Well,
Right.
how do we get them? Can we raise the rate? Yeah, let's raise it. And then they bump it up and guys come back. Or
Nice.
guys that wouldn't play there in the first place are now interested. So
Right. Right.
the money part of it's always the tricky thing.
Seems like it comes down to at least with raising it, like be professional and have a good relationship.
Dude,
It's a
absolutely.
theme.
Oh, all the time.
Cool. Well, let's jump into the final part here, what I like to call select the style. So two things I like to talk about: music taste. So how would you describe yourself as a DJ, number one? And then two, what music do you listen to when you're not DJing, when you're known, like when no one else is listening, you're just kicking it at home?
um my style, I would say, is just straight up open format. I mean, it's very venue specific, but for instance, you're playing at the beach, like the college clubs, like you can go across the board and everything. So I kind of like to play what I know is going to work in the room. Like there's people that I hate playing that song. I'm like, dude, if a Britney Spears song is going to crush it right now and get this whole place and every girl in here wilding out, I'm going to play it,
Yeah,
but I'll
feel
do it in
that.
a way where I'm not sounding like, Fishfonics, the bar mitzvah DJ. Like,
Yeah.
you want to do it with some style. So I think it's just find out. Like I've had, shout out to D-Lo. I watched that guy play a cheesy set and he had me on his mixes going like, oh, damn. Like just killed it. So it's like, you could do it. So yeah, I mean, I like to kind of just, whether if I'm booked to do all house, I'll do all house, but I'll enjoy it. So I like the open format aspect of whatever's going to rock the party, I'm here to rock it.
Nice. Hell yeah.
As far as the second part, when I'm listening to it, I'm off. It's definitely none of that. I would say, but when you do your Spotify top shit you're listening to,
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of like Afro beats, but like old like Fela Kuti radio stuff like
Mm.
that. I love the instrument. I love the stuff that's got like some soul to it, where you're like you listen to it and you're like, ooh. Um, a lot of the vibey stuff, kind of that K Tronada vibe,
Yep.
things like that. And then just a lot of like old like Tribe, like just like that backpack rap where you just kind of, I like just where I'm bobbing my head, because when I'm off hanging out at the house, I'm not trying to listen to, progressive house,
Right.
but or just like
Exactly.
yeah, I kind of just like anything that's just I like vibey shit. It's basically what it boils down to. But my girl is like big old. Her and her dad are like super old school Afrobeat type stuff. So she's got me into that. But yeah,
Okay. You're gonna have
like
to put me onto that for sure. I think
dude,
Afrobeat's like the new wave. Like it was like Latin for a bit, and then I think like the next couple years we're just gonna see more and more Afrobeat influence.
on Spotify, like Fela Kuti, go to Fela Kuti Radio, and it's like I'll let that shit just play all day.
How do you spell it?
Fela. I mean, like
Fela
Fela
Kuti.
and Femi, but Fela is It's FELAKUT.
TI.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, cool. I'm gonna peep this out.
Yeah, do it. He's like, I guess you could say, like, to me, I almost think of him. He's like the Bob Marley of Afro beats.
Oh, okay.
Had 15 wives, I think. And just, yeah, I think he
Nice.
married like all his backup singers, unless I'm getting it mixed up with someone else. But yeah, there's like a
Yeah.
cool documentary on him, but it's definitely worth
Nick
checking out.
Cannon's role model.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah,
Uh,
man, just stuff like that.
yeah,
Just
I feel
vibey
it.
stuff.
Exactly. I feel like you gotta rest your ears a little bit.
But I do
Actually,
sometimes, sorry not to go, but I will say sometimes I like getting into like some of that bass house stuff when I'm feeling a
okay.
little more. That's where I'm I like that. Like all like the night bass, like AC Slater, shit like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I definitely get going on some of that.
Nice. One question is hella funny. When you're driving back home from a gig, do you put music on or do you just have silence in the car?
XM Jazz,
Jazz.
dude, all the time. That, or if it's like one of those like kind of drive home, uh dude, I love my like number one favorite drive home song when you want to like decompress. Christopher Cross, Sailing.
Okay.
Definitely on some yacht rock tip, but that's just the like,
Nice.
you know, the vibe.
Just
But
coast home.
yeah, just shit that I will never hear when I'm like or playing on DJ. Or
Oh, I think my computer must have died. It wasn't charging.
uh
Saved it. What's the worst
nice.
when that happens when you're DJing? If like sometimes like one of the plugs in my computer doesn't work, and then your Serato just starts like, you're like, what's happening?
Dude, I've had a couple times where I've got to the venue, the DJ's playing before me, talking to him, like blah blah, like switch over. I shouldn't say a lot of times. It's happened twice. And luckily it was like off night, so it wasn't really like, whatever. Didn't like fucking crash the place. But I just forgot to plug in my laptop in the course of it. So I'm DJing, and all of a sudden just boom, it just dies, just skips
Yeah.
by. Had that happen twice and they look up and I just straight up like, sorry, man, my bad. But
Just
like I said, it was like a vibey gig where it's, you're just kind of like playing cool shit. There's no dance floor or anything.
right.
But I definitely got shit from the staff for it. But I just owned it. Like, whoops, forgot to plug it in, man. My bad.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Cool.
But
All
what
right.
do you listen to though? What's your
My used
drive
to
home?
usually on the drive home it's silence. But in terms of like what I listen to, I've gone through a few different phases. Kind of depends on just what I'm feeling. I used to do a lot of like soul funk chill is what I called it. So
Oh
just
yeah.
like what that sounds like. And then I really like soul house. I'm working on this mixtape right now called House Cleaning, where it's like clean your house, clean your soul. It's like the tagline.
That's dope. I like that.
So it's just music to clean your house too on Sunday, basically. So yeah, kind of just with you, anything that has like funk, soul
Mm-hmm.
vibes is like generally my type of stuff that I'm listening to, like when I'm not DJing.
Well, see, and for me, I don't live in San Diego, so I usually have about, on average, a 15 to 25-minute drive home because I'm just outside.
Right.
So sometimes the silence I could get a little tired on the road, so I got to have something on. So that's where,
Yeah,
if I was
I do feel
closer, there would
that.
definitely be a lot of silent drives home for sure.
It was especially like after Pink. I think Pink Elephant because the sound system like wasn't always the best, and it's just like ringing in your ear right there. You're just like
Oh yeah,
trying to give my ears a break.
a good sound system definitely. I mean, but I've played on Function One systems, and I'm like, this sounds like shit. I don't know why. Maybe something was tuned wrong. I think it was bad monitors though. The sound at the dance floor sounded good, but the booth sounded like shit.
That could be. Yeah, we have Function Ones at a spot in San Francisco we play at, and then Sidebar. I don't know if you've been to Sidebar many times here,
Yeah,
but their sound system there is really good.
yeah, their sound system is good, especially since they did it with the Function One.
Yeah, you can tell if you can like talk to the person right next to you without
Yep.
like yelling at them.
I always say the same thing. I'm like, you could have a good conversation,
And
and
it
the
still
music.
slaps. Yeah. All right, cool. So last part here, library organization. Um, just give us the rundown on your organization strategy. Like what does it look like from a song to go from listening to playing in Serato? What's all the steps involved there?
Ideally, the way where it could get a little messy, which, you have that bedroom where you just throw the clothes in and they just pile on the bed. Like I have crates like that. But usually what I do is I download it first to a folder in Serato that I called load. And that tells me that once it's in there, that's its temporary home. And then I kind of fill out like which crate it will go to, whether it could just be something simple as like R&B or throwback, or just, like what vibe of crate. So I usually put them in there, fill them out. We'll kind of play it from there once or twice and then be like, all right, this will probably do good with, you kind of build those tracks like sets that all have that same vibe or same genre. So it usually starts out in load and then gets put where it needs to go.
So you don't use iTunes then? You just have a
I don't use
folder?
iTunes. No, I go straight to Serato. I just never did the iTunes thing. But I also had like just a bunch of like random shit in iTunes that I didn't want jumping, like folders I made for, oh, we're having a barbecue at a friend's house. Like, oh, let me just make a crate, a folder real fast for iTunes. So just a lot of stuff that I didn't want going into Serato. So I've always just built crates right in Serato.
Got it. So is it just like I guess the Serato folder, and then there's just a folder within that folder called load, and that's where just everything goes?
Yeah, like on Serato, you have your all with all your crates.
Yeah.
Just I have one called load, and that's just, where it goes. But I also, if I'm like a specific venue or a specific night, I'll, put together a set, build a crate off that will sit by with ones that will be similar. Like, okay, I'm gonna dive into this one, but it's always weird explaining your crates because everybody has
yeah,
a completely different thing. Sometimes it's like the most weirdest system, but you just know where everything is. But yeah, that's basically, it starts off in load and then it goes to, like just my folders, a lot of them all have weird names, but it's just because it's association. Like these girls I know, shout out to all these girls I know that live on a street called Neptune. So I made a folder originally years ago. It was called Neptune, just because I knew it was all like this indie shit that all those girls listened to. So my Neptune folder became like all this indie stuff. But it started off just because it was like the vibe that was always when I would be hanging out at their house. It was always the vibe of stuff they were playing.
Right,
so it's like that association,
Yeah, I have a folder called Pink for the same reason. It's just
like
exactly. All hip hop.
Dude, I recorded one of my sets there, and I still like when people ever ask, like, "Oh, do you have a hip hop mix?" I always like toss them that one.
That's perfect. So do you like do? Because I started off by doing like years, and then every gig I would do a different crate. But then I was like, okay, I'll do crates for venues. So I was doing that here in San Diego for a while. I was like thrusters, but then I realized like, okay, I'm like, for example, PB Ale House and thrusters are like kind of similar. So like, am I really gonna drag? If I have to drag a song, am I gonna drag it into like a hip hop thrusters and hip hop ale house and hip hop pink? Like, am I gonna have to repeat this process multiple times? Like, I'm trying to like whittle down the crates so I don't have. So my new strategy is like I'll have venues and then I'll just have dates. So if there's like new stuff I've downloaded for that particular date, then I'll just then I'll have like PBA House and all the dates I've played, or like Saloon, all the dates I've played. And then I'll just have like a bar master crate with like the different genres broken down.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I only have to do it once. But then like for the office, for example, I still have like my same broken out crates. So it just accrues like debt of like organizational debt. And I've tried to like go in and fix it like on airplanes. And I just open my computer. I'm like,
it's overwhelming.
I don't know what to do here.
Or I've even found you reorganize crates and then you don't know where everything is. It's like those hoarder shows where they're like, don't touch anything. I know where everything is. Exactly. And then you organize it and it looks clean. But so no, I'm with you. And I do the same thing. I have venue ones. Like if it's I get corporate stuff. So I build like corporate crates. And
yeah,
I think my biggest thing with those is realizing like differentiating clean and dirty edits. Because a lot of things labeled clean edit will still say like ass, or maybe kind of just push it far enough where I'm like, ooh, that's clean, but that's still
like
not
filter.
Oh, dude, yeah, seriously. But yeah, it's just I think it's because I do that too. I'm just trying to think like I'll make a crate for a venue but then like I start playing from it so much, I rename it because it's just one I start using at multiple venues. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
think it's just, I remember the first time I had a conversation where I had this weird thing where I would only put one song in one crate. And I was talking to someone like, dude, if that song works with multiple things, put it in different crates. So it's always, you don't forget about it if you're playing from
Mhm.
this vibe or that. So I was like, oh yeah. So it's just everybody does stuff, whether it's like
Right.
just slam intros or party start, the party starter or just whatever. It's like,
What I really want to see Serato do is like just create tags, because like you can tag kind of, but like let's say you import like 10 songs and it's like particular of the same kind of vibe. You could tag it with the venue, tag it with and like tag multiple songs at the same time so that it doesn't like override it. It just adds to whatever the tags that you currently have.
mhm.
So that way you could like search tags versus like, I don't know, if you had like a house song that had female vocal or something. Like that would be an interesting tag, but like creating a folder or a crate that's just like female vocal just seems so tedious to organize all of the songs you have like that. Or just like, dragging it into the things you already dragging there, but
Oh
then
yeah.
also remembering to have to like drag it into that folder. And then you look in that folder, it has like 3 songs. I feel like there's tags and you could like, it would just create the ability to search and have metadata on the song so much more flexible. That way you can search multiple tags. So if there's like, I don't know, Tupac, how do you want it? If it had like a barbecue, West Coast hip hop, you could like search for both of those tags, like barbecue,
Oh,
hip
I see
hop.
what
And then
you're
if you could
saying.
search both of those tags, it would then filter all the songs that just have those tags together.
That's true. I mean, you could technically, like in the comments, put hip hop barbecue and then type in
Yeah.
hip hop barbecue. Or
But
like
the
I know
UI for
guys.
that is so tedious.
Oh yeah.
You
And
couldn't do it
I
for
know
multiple
guys
songs.
that do like take weird letters like QXQ and put QXQ and say all your hip hop barbecues and just so you could just
Mm,
go QXQ and then because there's not, do weird almost like license plate combinations. I know guys that do that. So like they could go like, XXX and songs that they put the XXX on, but you know,
interesting.
I've tried using the colors. Do you ever use the colors?
No, I've never played around with that.
I've done that, like gone through crates and give like, okay, these all go together. I'm going to give them like pink. So then you could, how you can sort by BPM, title, you can sort by color.
Oh, okay.
So if anything in a crate that is assigned like pink or blue or red or whatever the colors are, they'll all pop up together. So there's little ways to do it. I think my biggest thing I would love to see is when you search for a song, like you said, Tupac, how do you want it? Like, if you know that's in a crate and you have a lot of crates, I wish it would tell you which crate it's in because you have to
Exactly.
go to
Yeah.
all and search, but you don't know where it's at. I wish like it would just pop up and also tell you, oh, it's in old
This
school hip
great.
hop crate, West Coast crate or whatever.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of upgrades Serato can do. I love Serato, but I just have some pet peeves where I'm like, y'all need to update the software a bit. I do feel
yeah.
like they need to, in the next iteration, like how they went from Scratch Live to Pro, they probably need to make it subscription so that they continue to make money on it. I don't think DJs will be stoked on that, but that way they can continue to make money and reinvest more into engineering because engineers are expensive.
No,
But
for sure. And I'm sure they're trying to figure out a way to monetize it more. I mean,
yeah,
everybody is. I mean, like Toyota got rid of the remote start off the key fobs and made it in the app. So if you want to remote start your car now, you have to subscribe in the app
uh,
instead of just giving it to
classic.
everyone on their key fob. But they charge $8 a month. You got, a million people doing it now. That's 8 million
It's a
more
lot
a
of
month.
money.
Yeah.
So if anyone from Serato is listening, I
Yeah,
will
seriously.
begrudgingly pay $10 a month in the next version. Dope, man. Well, this has been awesome.
No,
Can
for
you let
sure.
everybody know where they can find you on the socials, what you got going on? Just anything else you want to tell the audience?
Socials, it's pretty much everything DJ Fishfonics, but phonics with an Fishfonics. So DJ Fishfonics, Instagram, Facebook, fishfonics.com is the official website. Uh this weekend, kind of just all over the place in San Diego, doing some stuff downtown. Got a couple corporate gigs, then doing some stuff at the beach. So yeah, just my socials are always pretty much up to date, especially Instagram. I keep everything updated on there. But yeah, I think starting tomorrow I'm at Mavericks Beach Club, and then just kind of diving into the weekend from there.
Nice. Well, once again, bro, thank you for coming on.
No, man,
And
thanks for having me. This is fun.
yeah, let me end the recording here.